right on the side of us. You could kind of see the thing moving through the woods.
All I can remember is flipping the light on, and I see this creature, and I knew in my heart, I knew in my mind, in the whole night, this isn't a man.
And then this thing walks across the road, takes a turn towards us, and then leaps over a guardrail.
Went to look forward, and there was a big black thing.
Welcome to Squatch-D TV, exploring the Bigfoot mystery each week with your hosts, veteran researcher, author, and TV personality, the Squatch Detective, Steve Kulls, and from the Bigfoot Research Project of Kentucky, Chris Bennett. Sit back and buckle up as we bring you guests from around North America discussing the Bigfoot phenomena, but not without a few laughs, too. Here are your hosts, Steve and Chris.
Hey, good evening, cyberspace. Welcome to Squatch-D TV for today's date, November 27th, 2022. I am your host, your guide, the Squatch Detective, Steve Kulls, along with, well, the guy right down there, Mr. Chris Bennett. Hello, Chris.
What's going on, man? I tell you, I'm still, I think I have a turkey hangover. We had our turkey yesterday instead of Thursday, and I think everybody ate so much today. That's why I was running a little late getting here. We got supper started a little late, and I don't know, people really didn't want to eat anyway. It doesn't seem like. I think it's too much turkey.
Everybody's turkeyed out.
Yeah, I'm good for another year.
Yeah, what was for dinner tonight, turkey?
No, chili.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No,
turkey chili?
Yeah, we massacred the turkey yesterday. I think it was a 15-pound bird, but, you know, we got some pretty healthy eaters. And but we had fun. I noticed your turkey. You sent me a picture of yours. Was that the one you deep fried?
I deep fried it. That was pre-deep frying, I believe. I don't know which one.
It was, well, yeah, it was golden and beautiful when you showed it to me.
Yeah. That was the fried one. Yep. Everybody thought I was going to blow something up. Everybody's like, oh, be careful. I'm a professional when it comes to these things.
Good. You know not to put it in there frozen. That's good.
Well, I got a fresh one.
I
ended up getting a fresh turkey, and it was brined. So the day before, we drained it, dried it off, and then I rubbed it. I put olive oil on it, and then I rubbed it, and I let it sit uncovered in the refrigerator overnight.
Yeah.
Just to dry it out some more in the cold air. And pulled it out, hooked it up, got the there's always three basics to turkey frying. Number one, make sure your turkey's not frozen. Mm-hmm. Number two, make sure it's really dried. Actually, there's four. Number three, don't overheat the oil. Should be 300 degrees. Don't let it go over that.
Yeah.
And number four, put it in very slowly. And I put it in, and nothing. It was perfect. It was a perfect drop.
Oh man, I loved it. And John Gray does that. He deep fries his turkeys. He did one for me one year, And man, I think till this day, I think that was still the best turkey I've ever had. And it was just deep fry. I mean, anything's better deep fried. It was great.
Oh yeah. And the funny thing is that for dinner we had my daughter and my stepson and two of my grandkids and of course my wife, and none of them before have had fried turkey.
Yeah.
So they were excited and and they devoured it.
Oh yeah.
It's only a 12-pound bird, small dinner, but
Oh, they don't last long.
Yep. So I was cooking my little behind off because I love doing the cooking.
I love turkey, but once a year, that's enough.
Yep.
You get if you got a lot of leftovers and you start eating it for like a week later, then it becomes a chore rather than a treat. So we try to get it eat like the first day or that second day, whatever. But once a year, good enough.
Grass asked, "What's my favorite oil?" I prefer 5W40. I use peanut oil. That's the stuff to use for frying turkey.
Oh yeah,
cuts down on the cholesterol level. But what I like about, the neat thing about frying a turkey too is the usually when you roast a turkey, the skin on the bottom is pretty much useless.
Yeah,
it gets all rubbery and slimy
stuff,
right? But when you fry a turkey, you get the benefit of having that skin on the bottom side crispy.
Yeah.
So you get twice the skin.
Yeah.
Which is of course my favorite part of the turkey.
Yeah, that peanut oil, man, too. I mean, you can fry chicken in peanut oil. It is awesome. That's I used to stop at this one place, had over on the Bluegrass Parkway, and they had fried chicken. It was the best chicken in the state of Kentucky, bar none. Even Colonel Sanders couldn't beat this chicken.
Yeah.
And it was all fried in peanut oil, and that was probably why.
Yep.
It's delicious.
Yes.
And enough about food.
I know. Otherwise, excuse us. Come back with a plate. We'll be like Leon.
Oh, man.
And I know Leon's out there tonight. And hence the little, I decided to do a little Trailer Park Boys homage with bubbles on our graphic tonight. Oh my God, boys, we're officially dealing with a effing Sam Squatch. It's probably an effing 10-footer by the looks of that stuff. I don't know if you've ever seen the show.
No.
Oh,
I've not seen that.
It's a Canadian show. It's hysterical.
Okay.
It's hysterical.
Maybe clips, but I've not seen the whole thing. No.
Yeah, you got to watch the Julian beating where they thought he was a Sam Squatch.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Anyway, let's do our roll.
Mick said, "No, I've never had a deep fried Mars bar, Mick. I am really fat enough as it is."
You know what's really good too is deep fried Oreos and deep fried Twinkies.
I've not tried those either.
No, it's delicious. Yeah, a Twinkie especially because even the yellow cake tastes like a cream.
Oh.
Right, in it.
Quiet. No more food.
No more. Stop. Nobody in chat talk about food anymore.
Yeah, let's do the roll call, man. Who
yes, let's do the roll call. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the chat's hopping tonight.
Oh, yeah.
So first in tonight, well, of course, was Ammon Chris.
And
we got Rod Dupree, Grasshopper.
Hey, Rod.
Joe Snyder from Western New York, Bigfoot. Lance Windsor. Uncle Bones, too. Uncle Bones, I see you're a little sick.
Bones?
I hope you feel better, brother. Let's see.
Hang on, man. Yeah.
We got Mick. Mick is in the house, of course.
Mick.
He probably had meatloaf for Thanksgiving.
Probably.
Of course, there's Leon, Bigfoot Okanagan.
Hey, Leon. Good to see you, bud.
So, Mary Wilson. Welcome, Mary.
Hi,
Sandra
Mary.
Piper. Hello, Raptor Crazy.
Raptor Crazy.
I love that name. Well, so we're getting there. My Eyes. Hello.
My Eyes. Good to see you.
Angel Nolan. Hello, Angel.
Hi, Angel.
Michael Haywood. Low Rider.
Mike.
Hello, guys.
Low Rider.
We're getting there. Brent is in there from the tall ones.
Hi, Brent.
I saw Jeff from Pine Island Research lurking about. There he is.
Pine Island. Hi, Jeff. DM Zabo.
Oh, look who's in the house. We got Mike from Tactical Bigfoot Research. Hello,
Hey,
Mike.
Good to see you, Tack. What's going on, bud?
And Joe Dryden's in the house. Former Everything in the house. DM Zabo in the house. Jay Fritz in the house. Of course, the missus is lurking about too, keeping an eye on that I'm behaving myself.
It's not sure.
Don Fuller. Okay, he came popping in.
Hey,
Little Kilroy was here.
Little Kilroy.
Up, Sasquatch Wizard Adirondacks. Hello.
Hey, welcome.
And Mick, we already said Mick, didn't we? Just looking for anybody we missed.
Golly, the chat's really hopping tonight. You guys have been busy.
Now as we're getting down, Jeff Trifoletti. Hello, Jeffrey. Hello, good to see you.
Former Everything. Okay, that's cool. That's a cool.
Steve, Curious Cryptid is in the house.
Hi, Steve. Good to see you.
Sharky's in the house.
Sharky?
He's lurking. He said, Lance Windsor, if we hadn't called your name, you're in the house. We know that. And Finding the Trackway. So I think we got everybody.
Finding the Trackway. Jeff Trifoletti. I think that's right.
Jeff,
I didn't say that wrong, Jeff.
You got it right. Yeah, I know. I've known Jeff for quite a while.
Yeah. Good to see you, man.
Used to work with him. Good guy. Okay, so where do we start? Well, we're going to start with a bit of bad news tonight. Of course, for those who do not know, author Linda Godfrey passed away today, I believe, or at least the news of her passing came out today. And of course, she is a prolific author on Bigfoot and cryptids and mysteries and lake monsters and all sorts of things from the Michigan, Wisconsin area. Actually, I think she appeared on a couple of episodes, season 1 of The Legend of Skinwalker Ranch. And, she was a mentor to our good friend Jay Pachochin. So, and again, we would like to extend our deepest sympathies and prayers to the many friends who Linda touched with her kindness and wisdom, and to all of her family. So we want to just do that. Let's have a little moment of silence for her. And what can you say? We lost another chronicler of this mystery who probably was the most, she was a journalist prior to writing her books. Graduated actually out of an art class from a university in the that part of the country, I believe. I believe she graduated from Wisconsin school, if I'm not incorrect. If I'm not, excuse me. I was trying to read her bio real quick. But, it's always sad when we lose somebody, especially a person like Linda who really never had a bad thing to say about anybody.
Right.
She was, she would, lend a helping hand to anybody that asked it. So, so where do we start tonight? Let's start with our news story of the night before we get to this video. And this story came from the Scioto Valley Guardian. Ohio sheriff says non-human creature slaughterhouse found dead in creek. Very fascinating way of writing this. Sheriff in Southern Ohio is reporting that a non-human creature slaughtered a horse overnight. Happened at a farm on Airport Road in Ross County. Farmer stated today he found his barn torn apart and was missing a horse. He stated there was blood in the barn and the back door was busted open. Very interesting. He found the horse in a creek in the back of the property dead. Deputy wrote in a report he has cameras and stated he checked it out already and no one has been there since he was yesterday. Upon further inspection, we were able to determine that a human did not do this to the horse. The horse, after being attacked, somehow ended up in a nearby creek where it died, the sheriff reported. That's very interesting.
Well, it's kind of vague too, non-human. Well,
yeah.
Is it a cat?
Is it one of the animals they don't want to admit are there?
Yeah.
Or is it something else?
Yeah.
Is it?
That's interesting.
Yeah, I find it very interesting that there was cameras and so I caught that one a little bit later in the later in the day.
Not a good time to be a horse in Ohio.
Guess not. And that's straight from the horse's mouth. Straight from the horse's mouth. Not a good time to be.
Is that anywhere near? No, that's nowhere near Salt Fork, is it?
Not entirely sure. I didn't see that there, but it's not very far from the Kentucky border.
Yeah.
And of course, if you move south of there, you have Portsmouth, Ohio, which is where Dallas Gilbert and Wayne Burton had a lot of activity, at least claimed activity over their time. If you go to the southeast, that's where you would run into Coshocton, Ohio, in the Salt Fork. You go a little bit further, that's where you run into Crittenden, which was the Kentucky ORV stuff that happened way back 10, 15 years ago. So very, very interesting story. Really, really piqued my interest.
I'm just trying to check the distance between it and Salt. Okay, yeah, it's like 130 miles from Salt Fork, so that's nowhere.
Not too far. Not too far though. A couple hours.
Yeah. 130 miles. But that's interesting. It looks directly south of Columbus. And I tell you what, it looks like it's about the same distance to Columbus as it is away from Columbus as it is the Kentucky line. So really southern Ohio.
Yeah, it's not.
Well, we had some things going on over in I think it was Grayson. I may be mistaken, but I think it was Grayson County. They had a large cat there that was preying on horses and ponies and other livestock. And, of course, Kentucky Fish and Game or Wildlife, like they are, they say, oh, well, no, there aren't any large cats in Kentucky.
What I find is he has cameras and stated he checked it already, and no one has been there. Upon further inspection, we were able to determine that a human did not do this to the horse. Well, what did?
What's on the camera? Yeah,
a little bit.
Because the over in Grayson County, where it was Kentucky, they put a notice in the paper. No, there's contrary to rumors, there's no large cats in Kentucky. And then the one of the locals there got it on a trail cam, and so he took it to the sheriff and said, "Hey, there are and the sheriff did like a release. I think it was in the paper, and he might have did something on TV. He said, yes, folks, regardless what you hear, there are large cats here, and here it is, Yep.
Just looking at it.
But I would be really, really interested in more details on this story. If he had some cameras there, what was on the cameras? If it's not a person, then was it someone walking on two legs? May have been Harry.
Killed by a gang of squirrels. Hey, and Nikki from Hairy Man Hoodwinks and Hoaxes and Hoodwinks just snuck in.
Those squirrels can be rather dangerous. I've seen. I saw a commercial once, so it must be true.
Yeah, they make cars have accidents. Then they high five one another.
Give each other high fives. Yeah, evil little rascals. Squirrels are evil.
Yes, they are.
I always thought squirrels was kind of cool, and I have seen them kept as pets in the house.
They're not great pets, though. They cause quite a bit of havoc. They're not easily trained.
They can chew on your furniture
and your wires and your cabinets and your food. And your bedding and.
I have a cherry dresser that was attacked by a squirrel and chewed on the drawers. Sure do. Yes. But then it belonged to my mother. We don't have squirrels here,
What? The squirrel belonged to your mother, right?
No, the dresser had belonged to my mother. Yeah, and the squirrel got into her bedroom. I just wanted
to clarify that.
Yeah. Well, no, I did when I was growing up. This one guy was like a second dad to me. His name was Mike, and he ran a bulldozer, and he pushed over a tree and had a nest of squirrels. Well, he took the baby squirrels home with him and let his kids raise it. Which his daughters, we went to school together, and so I can't remember. I think they named it Squeaky. I think is what it was, but they raised the squirrel from an infant. I mean, literally, fed it with a little
dropper,
baby bottle dropper or whatever, and milk and everything. And when it grew up, they had a little collar they put on it and had a bell. Every time he would move, you would hear ching, 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 And so if you were over their house visiting, you would hear ching, 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 ching. And next thing you know, Squeaky was on the back of the couch and he'd be on your shoulder looking at you. And he had no fear of humans because he was raised from literally an infant by humans.
Well, here's a true story. There was a baby squirrel, and baby squirrels do that. They will go to the nearest warm being and try to I had a baby squirrel literally climb into my arms and fall asleep.
Yeah.
And I would put it down and would climb right back up.
Yeah.
I ended up finding his tree where I thought he was, and he scampered up the tree. But he wanted to stay, and I could pet him, and he wasn't biting, and he was, it was just like, hold me, and I'm sitting there going, what the heck?
Oh, he was looking to be inside for the winter. That's what that deal was.
Yeah, very, very. Hey, it's Mark Henry's in the house. Hey, brother, good to see you, sir. And, it's just, but this story is just, there's a lot of questions I have.
Yeah. I love squirrels. They're delicious.
Oh,
that was evil. That's true, though. They are good.
I just said, he shot a squirrel off my bird feeder today and placed it in front of my game camp tonight to see what decides to eat him. How do you know it's a him? Did you check?
If it's a fresh squirrel, you might get a picture of me on your game cam.
How do you know it's a male squirrel? Well, he's got nuts.
Oh, man. They are kind of a pain in the butt, though. They dig holes in your yard. I mean, literally a hole, this big around and about, I don't know, that deep or so. And they'll either bury a walnut or a nut, or they'll dig one up.
Or if they get caught in your crawl space, your attic crawl space.
Yeah.
My God, they cause a lot of damage.
And they say that's why Kentucky has so many walnut trees in the state is because of the bad memory of squirrels.
Yeah. They'll
bury their walnut and they'll forget where it was, and then next thing you know, you got a tree growing.
Yep.
Oh.
So, what does Steve deal with during the week when the show is not broadcasting? Oh boy. Well, let's go to the mailbag first. And this is kind of funny because I thought the nerve of this guy. So this guy wrote, "Hi, I'm interested in your book 50 Large, but was wondering if you might reduce the price this holiday season to a manageable figure." Who talks like that? I may buy it anyway, but I have lots of books to buy in a cap budget. Okay? If you are seeking a book publisher who will not rip you off, I can reissue your book with excellent formatting, grammar editing, etc. in hard copy and ebook formats. I think that book should be $10 and you would see your sales jump. Yeah, I'm no salesman, by the way. Yeah, no shit. But I do have a book publishing company.
Well, that's interesting.
What the nerve of the guy, right?
Yeah.
What nerve? Oh, I think you should drop it at that point.
Aye.
Yeah. And here's the funny thing. So when you actually look up where this email came from, which I do, the source, he was from South Korea.
Oh, okay.
Which kind of made me wonder about what may reduce the price this holiday season just to a manageable figure. See, it didn't ring like a normal American would talk.
Yeah, the thing is, he hasn't raised the price, and if you'll notice, everything on the market has increased in price, but Steve's book has not.
In fact, it may have come down when I originally published it. I gotta look, but
yeah, even if you get something like the same price as it was, you'll find the content has been reduced or decreased. We noticed, here a while back, the Dollar Tree store is now the $1.25, tree store. They still call it the Dollar Tree, but it's $1.25 tree is what it is.
Everything for $1.25.
And you think, oh, that's only a quarter. Well, that's 25%. Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot.
That's a jump. And if you sell 1,000 items a day, 25 cents is a few $100 more in the till.
Yeah, it adds up to a lot. But,
and then
I'm not complaining.
Yep.
Just reporting.
So that means for every $1,000 they bring in, they're now bringing in an extra $250. So if they sell $5,000 a day, that means they're bringing in an extra $1,000, which obviously is 25% more than their, And then you do that over the course of 7 days. That 1,200 becomes now an extra 10 grand a week, just about.
And it's I know we don't do politics on this channel, but with some of the things that are going on about the price increases is killing everybody, and regardless whatever political beliefs you are, which we don't get into that, the prices have increased.
Yeah, inflation is there.
It's making it more difficult.
Regardless of who you want to point the finger at being responsible, inflation is there.
Yeah. And I know when my $1.79 a dozen eggs now cost me almost $5, that's something I tend to notice, because
you know what the strange thing is you're in farm country a lot of places.
Yeah.
Our eggs aren't that expensive.
Oh, ours are. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if
you're lucky, you can find them.
Buy the premium range-free, organic, HMO-free eggs. You can get them. Yeah, they're $4.98. But
if you look at the dollar store and stuff around here, our eggs are like $3.79 a dozen.
Yep.
But if you go to Save-A-Lot, which is a local grocery chain here, and normally, you buy the cheap food there, okay, and 50 large is now 70.
Yeah, inflation is it's now 75 grand.
Yeah. But now. Because we buy
actually, it would have gone down because 50 grand way back then is probably like 35 grand today.
Yeah, that's true. But where we normally buy our groceries, the place where we buy our groceries, the eggs are like $4.79, $4.89 a dozen, and there's nothing special about them. It's not like they're free range eggs or anything. They're just normal freaking chicken eggs.
Now, I'll say this.
The trackway, $2.10 a dozen here. Oh, great deal, man.
So I got a quick shout out to Alex Petikoff. I don't know if you have caught this on YouTube, Chris. But Alex, Paul Daglian has just snuck in. And Arthur Watts is just snuck in as well. But if you... Alex has, been doing movies under the Small Town, Monsters banner. And he just did part 1 of this Alaska coastal, Alaskan coastal Sasquatch episode.
Yeah.
Quite interesting stuff. Check it out. It's really, really good.
I'll look into that. Is this like that one place where they had like the killer Sasquatch stories?
I'm not sure exactly where it is in relation to this, but it started with a conversation he was having a guy who owned a cabin there. Yeah. And it wasn't in Portlock. If you're thinking of Portlock, it's not.
Okay, that's it. That's it. That was it. I was thinking Portlock. Yeah.
This is on some peninsula, and so I actually got through about 65% of it this morning, and then I was like, not because it was boring, but because I was really tired. Coming off of Black Friday weekend, I worked a double shift on Black Friday. So
you were busy.
I was pretty beat. And then I had to go in for Saturday for another 9 hours. So I was, and of course, last minute idiots caused me to stay late. So,
well, of all the places in the United States, I mean, there's two things. There's two things. I would think Bigfoot would be found in Alaska in far greater numbers. But when I look at it another way, okay, there's some really harsh living conditions there. Like in the wintertime, in some places, it gets so cold, if you spit, it freezes into ice cubes before it hits the ground. Yep. So that would be one. Maybe they live a little further south than that. I don't know.
Yeah, this is not very far out of Anchorage, maybe a couple hundred miles.
But near the coastline, though. That
or one of the this is near it's near the coastline. I think it's one of the inlets.
That might be, the weather might be temperate enough there because of the ocean that they could very well stand the cold winters. Wouldn't be as cold.
Exactly, and some of the audio recordings are quite compelling as well. I'm gonna finish that up tonight.
This is gonna be cool. Yeah, I'm gonna watch that.
Yep. So part 1 is out. Really good stuff. And then this morning I was out and about doing some private investigation work. So it's been a busy little weekend for me. And then I wasn't planning on going to work tomorrow, but because of incidents that happened today, I have to go in there and give some people some guidance on how to do things. So,
the book guy, it looks like to me this book guy is just trying to get your business. He wants to publish your books for you.
He's not very good at it.
Yeah. That's the wrong approach, in my opinion.
The first thing you're asking for charity, and then you're, telling me that, you want to lower my price, and you will see your sales jump. Okay.
Yeah, that's not really a great approach. Of course, that may be how they do business in South Korea. It may be perfectly normal. But here, you'd probably have better luck if you approach somebody who is an author. That if you said, hey, I notice you've got this book out. This is great. I could probably reduce your publishing costs and give you a higher quality product as well. If you'd be interested in more information, let me know.
Well, I think the rudeness is what I perceive as rudeness. Perceptively, it may be just a cultural difference.
Yeah, it is. I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure it is as well. But I love it. I'm no salesman. No, you're not. Because you would think that you would start the conversation off like, hey, I'm a book publisher, and I think this is what I can do for you.
Right. And Mick says, some me folks might say a good place to find a Sasquatch is rummaging through the bins behind the Home Depot.
Especially if it's near San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, yeah.
So, what other news? Want to go to another mailbag?
Yeah, do it, man. This is fun. I like this.
I didn't actually write what this guy wrote, but I remembered what he wrote because
not only is this was worth a little chuckle, it's also shows the difference between cultures and
yeah. Well, this one is the troll of the week YouTube comment.
Wow.
From a guy named, accordingly, Mike Tyson.
Oh, wow.
Not the Mike Tyson, certainly not. Number one, Mike Tyson wasn't born in 89. So we can pretty much rest assured that.
Yeah.
But anyway, this guy who has 16 subscribers, no videos, and it's only been on YouTube less than a year, decides to, number one, try to push every button that he can with me.
Yeah. On
3 different videos. First by saying, incorrectly stating my age and making me basically a guy ready for a walker. Commenting on chain smoking, which was the only.
Got us confused, I think, probably.
Yeah. Talks about chain smoking. All right, guilty or charged on that one. Talks about the 15 people that watch our show. And obviously he was a little perturbed about me disagreeing with MK Davis. So
now we get down to some truth. Yeah.
So the trolling we go. What else did he say? I've never heard of you before. Well, and you've probably not been in Sasquatch research very long, have you? But anyway, it was pretty funny. And it was like, I looked at it, I laughed. And before I didn't think to copy it because I didn't think I was going to put it up. But I said, you know what? I want to burn this guy. And if he's out there watching Tonight Show, because he can watch the shows, and I'm sure he's coming back.
Sure. Yeah, if Mike said he'd never heard of me before, that's no surprise. And that's actually expected.
But
and actually preferred.
But if he tries to post again,
enjoy the band.
So he's been dealt with, and
well,
and again, if he had anything objective to argue with, I might have overlooked the insults. But when you just say this and that and this and that, it's like, dude, you're just throwing nothing but insults.
Yeah.
What happens when you throw insults? You don't have an argument.
Yeah, that's right.
So to our troll of the week, happy trails.
And I don't have time for nonsense. If somebody posts something on my site or my channel, and if it's criticism and it's creative, productive criticism, hey, that's fine. I'm all good with that. No problem. They say, well, you need to use a torque wrench instead of this. Okay, yeah, I got you. That's perfectly acceptable.
What I generally do is, every so often I'll go down my list and, I take note of people who have commented. Most of all of the comments are held for review, with the exception of certain people who have proved that they're not going to post anything outlandish, outrageous, of the like. So every once in a while, maybe a couple times a year, I'll go through the list and say, oh yeah, Am and Chris. Yeah, well, he can free post it. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
However, that guy, Tactical Bigfoot Research. Yeah.
You got to watch that guy, Mike.
Gotta watch that guy, yeah.
But now, if somebody posts something rude and, nasty or something on there, oh, man, they're gone. I'm sorry. I have no time. I'm retired, and I have plenty of time on my hands, but I have not 1 minute for rudeness.
Or ignorance.
If somebody is rude to me, bye.
Bye.
Later on. So many people, there's billions of people in the world, man, of people that could be rude to me. Why should I let someone in particular do that? I don't. No.
Now, we are getting close to one more news story.
Okay.
One more news story. And
it's going to be a horse killing Sasquatch or something similar?
No. And then we'll get to the video of the evening, which is going to be kind of fun. It's going to be quick, but it's going to be fun.
Okay. I'm going to go off camera here for a second. I'm still here, but you won't be able to see my handsome debonair face.
Chris is actually, he only wears a shirt. He wears nothing below the waist.
Yes.
So he probably had to stand up and get something. like the waiter in The Naked Gun. Remember that? Where he turns around.
I remember that.
Wearing pants.
Oh, that was good memory, Steve. Good memory.
Oh my God, it's a Sam Squanch. Anyway, so you're sitting down for this, right, Chris?
I'm ready. Yeah, I'm here. I'm ready.
This was overwhelming news to me. Hopefully it's not for bad reasons. But there it is.
Oh, no.
The Bigfoot Ballyhoo blog is finally bye-bye.
This is a terrible day for...
Horrible day for the truth. A bastion of truth, a site that is a bastion of truth, has been stricken from the internet.
Oh my God! Approved by Abraham Lincoln himself.
That's right.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Oh, Linda, what happened, honey? What happened?
I bet you're a YouTube channel still.
Hmm.
You know,
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe she's going to do a live show now on.
Well, I'm just hoping she's not ill because I don't wish anybody illness or any of that stuff.
No.
Or but the blog is gone, and I'm very happy because it was the greatest source of misinformation. Yeah. And probably her biggest pull off was the Miller Doc hoax, where people were rambling and talking about the Miller Doc and all this other stuff. And, it tracks back to the two loggers on the right hand side. Yeah. And then, of course, the reminder years ago, the Bill Emery trail cam photos, which was just an inverted picture of the creature from Bigfoot, the Sasquatch, the Legend of Bigfoot.
Yeah, one of my all-time favorite movies there. Yeah,
and how one of the ESP team, the Emery Saxon Parchell team, the P is Parchell for Hank Parchell. When the movie The Legend, the Legend of Bigfoot, had a Hank Parchell.
Yeah.
So it wasn't.
It's just a coincidence,
Yeah,
it could be.
Just a coincidence. The picture came from that film too.
Just a coincidence. That's all.
And just another coincidence that the picture she stole off the newspaper article was Saxton. Part of the EF team was on that too as a fisherman, not this outdoor logger guy. So it's just good to see that site go bye. I'm sure a lot of the sightings on there that were reported.
Terrible. Oh,
were probably all just made up anyway. And it was always the woman talking to her like she had this connection with all these women. It's just fantasy. And
this website, this blog was more an exercise in creative
writing.
Fiction. Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed. And I talked to her publisher in the newspaper, and she said, she's posting on her blog that these stories are real that she's been putting in your newspaper. She goes, I was always under the impression it was fiction.
Yeah. Well, I think everybody else was too, Steve.
No, they weren't. Otherwise,
the brand new people.
The Miller Doc would have never gotten traction.
Yeah.
And all these all these other people that would have these, these comments like there was somebody that was a lawyer and, thank you, so-and-so, Judy, or, it's always these women that were talking, but every single story had the same kind of flow. And I remember years ago, Autumn Williams and I talking, because Autumn Williams is from Oregon. So is Ellen B. And the stories always had the same flow. Well, my husband and I were driving down the road and, it was always the woman reporting it, and
with the Miller document, that was very interesting, and it was pretty well done by an amateur. But when they tried to put throw in the sciencey jargon there, it kind of just fell in on itself.
It fell on itself. And the fact she used a guy that we were able to find who it was. And we found the real H.A. Miller. He was never a PhD. He was never went to medical school. He was a forester. And he had his master's in forestry. And he wrote a book, co-authored a book with somebody else. And, that was written in the 60s, which is, right around the time of this event. And in nowhere does he say he's a medical doctor.
Right.
And we have pictures of the guy she put out there.
Yeah.
In other schools.
Well, and the story though in the Miller document about the Sasquatch being hit by a tree that was struck by lightning or something, or you want to believe it. You really want to believe it. Okay, lightning strike. Hey, it happens to humans. And golfers especially, if you play golf, Don't go play in the rain.
The Miller doc all centered around this Columbus Day incident where lightning struck a tree and it fell on a Sasquatch, killing him. Yeah. And these were the two loggers on the right hand side that found it by the name of Lawrence Statman and Jerry Lustin, or something like that. And by running the search of the picture, I found where the picture came from. It came from a clipping of a newspaper article.
Yeah.
That's the original one that was in the database there. And it had nothing to do. One of the guys, the guy on the right was Buzzy Franklin. And Buzzy had owned a diner. And the funny thing is when I put this out there, somebody from Oregon said, a Bigfoot researcher, I believe it was Barb Shoup, who said, I know Buzzy. Yeah, I used to go to his diner all the time. They had like the best breakfast in the world.
Yeah.
And so things come
Small
full
world.
circle. Yeah, things come full circle. Unreal. But there you have it.
If that were to happen, I mean, that would be a good way to find a body. Have one struck by lightning or killed by a tree that fell on top of it or something. Yeah, that would be.
And if people want to learn more about the Miller doc, we did a deep dive on it. I think a year and a half ago, with the help of a researcher from Washington State by the name of Reba Campbell, who really had all this information. She had the answer right in front of her, and I kind of helped her get to the right answer. And she was like, "Oh my God." But the Miller doc just collapsed after that. So, okay. Is it video time yet? Guys, this is nothing spectacular at all. And I omitted the audibles of the video because they had some background music playing. And I'm not sure if it was a freeware piece of documentation or a freeware audio. So that's why there's no.
God, you can't be too careful these days. Yeah,
right. Yeah, we don't want to get flagged for it and then have it removed off the playbacks. So I took the sound out of the video, and this TikTok video starts, and of course I've actually zoomed in on the area of where it is, so it's not in TikTok form where it's just up and down rather than widescreen.
Yeah.
Okay, that was interesting. Also, I noticed that my monitor for the channel just went down and it just came back up. So
we're still here. Still here.
No, I this monitor I can see we're still here, but so how this starts is she says, "Well, I got a very interesting video from the daughter of my boss," and she goes on to say, "Do you see it? It looks like this thing is jumping and it's running away at incredible speed. And, this could very well be a Sasquatch or something to that effect." So we'll play that now. And you're going to see that tree over there on the left. And there it is, supposedly jumping. Camera flies over there, comes back, and it's gone. Oh, that actually, I'm sorry. Looks like she did some reverse capturing, she was putting an editor to slow it down a bit. It is very fast. The original, it's gone. There it is, jumping. I was going to go back and.
Oh boy, that's a lot of wavy camera action there.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it could be anything. It could even, could that be something added? I don't know if the camera ever went back to show that.
Is it like falling out of the tree? I can't really even catch what the action is. Jumping out of the tree? Yeah, I think so. Oh my God, this is horrible.
Yeah. There it is. You really can't see.
Oy, oy, oy.
But it does take quite the jump.
Yeah.
But it looks like it swings around the tree. It's kind of really weird because you really don't see that fresh. And I agree. It does look like a bird. It does look like a bird. I agree.
Hmm.
I agree.
I don't know, man. It's so blurry. You can't really. I mean, it classify as a blob squatch. I mean, yeah, it's a good blob squatch. But
yep. Yeah.
What concerns me is the swift movement of the camera, and plus, also, the camera goes well past it. It's like they only wanted to get a sweeping motion.
Why didn't they notice it? Yeah. So this one's a thumbs down.
Oh yeah.
Big thumbs down.
Big red flags on this one.
Yeah, and people are right. It floats like a leaf. It floats like a bird. It just doesn't seem to be, and it's so quick in the original video. That's why I didn't bother showing it. It's just like,
yeah. So
could it be just something falling, at a distance from not far from the camera? Could it be? It's very.
Now, if this person was an actual, honest to gosh researcher, then that happened to them and they were able to catch that. Okay, then maybe you've got a good area. Okay, maybe you.
And that's a good point by Kaiju Ninja. It moves while she's moving. I agree. It could be something on the actual machinery she's on. I just. Like I said, I didn't really take a long look at this. I just took, I said, this is interesting. We'll just put it in front of everybody. And as she moves.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way this was attached to the camera was attached to the bulldozer. No,
I don't think this was attached to it because there was a part where it moves just prior to her moving the camera. Like if you go up here, you see it start to move there. And she's actually moving the camera for a frame or two this way and then back.
Yeah.
And it's actually moving the opposite direction. So I don't think it's anything attached to the dozer or the camera. And to me, it looks like a bird. I'm pretty sure it was.
I don't know. I don't see bird. Of course, not a lot for me to see there.
I don't see anything solidly on the ground.
This is the first time I've seen this clip when you're showing it right here. I've not seen this. So this is all new to me.
Yeah. And in looking at the still of it that's on her graphic, it's like, where's the feet? Don't tell me this is another case of adding some CGI. And I'm not sure about this one. It's just too pixelated to note. I am not really going to go the CGI route in this. It looks like something to me that pareidolia is hitting certain people's eyes going, oh my God, it's a Bigfoot. It's a Sasquatch. Yeah.
It's
God,
blurry.
He's trying to get into my shed.
Whatever it is, it's blurry.
Yeah. Horrible. So my question to the folks out there in chat tonight, let's talk about this. Does adult Sasquatch go into trees? What do you think?
Yeah.
And what do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I think they do. Yeah, I think they do. I think that's how they topple trees over. I believe the large creatures climb up so high and then they get the tree leaning and the tree has no choice. It either has to break off or uproot. I don't think that they're actually physically strong enough to push a tree over. I don't think so. But I think they can use their weight and leverage to...
I got to start bringing that back. The porcupine rating system. And this one will give one porcupine out of 5.
Yeah.
Because it's something at least that is probably not something that's a hoax. It's probably more something that's...
Yeah.
Just misinterpreted.
Yeah. I think they do go up in trees though. Now I didn't years ago. I didn't think they could. I thought, well, something that big is not going to be up in a tree, but now I think they can.
Well, you got to understand, if something's 500 pounds, that's a lot of weight to bear for a tree.
Right.
So, you look at a gorilla, a baby gorilla will go into a tree, but as gorillas get older and more robust, they won't do it.
Yeah.
So hard to say. We do know that primates as young like the monkey bars and like to climb. That's why we have monkey bars in parks, because as kids and as young primates, we're trying to explore what our hands and feet can do and climb and explore. And we're more limber, we're more flexible. As we get older, and that's true with all primates, we tend to get a little more stiffer, older, and a level of.
I used to love. I used to love to climb trees. Not so much anymore, but I used to love to climb trees. It was fun.
And true, Joe said maybe they'll, maybe to grab a beehive for honey or something like that.
Well, I'm a firm believer that they can go up in a tree. I don't believe they travel that way, but I believe they can go up in a tree.
Yeah, you don't think they're Tarzaning to tree to tree to tree?
No, I don't think they're doing that. No. Swinging through the jungle on vine. No, we don't have that many vines here in Kentucky. There are the odd grapevine, and every now and again you'll find, but you can't really. There's not enough of them where you can swing from tree to tree.
You see that Chris is returning to food again. See, he said grapevines.
No, grapevines here. They don't have any grapes. The wild grapevines, but they do get very large in diameter, and they'll grow from the ground up to the top of a tree. So when they get well tangled up in the top, you can cut them off at the ground, and boy, you grab that grapevine and back up, and you can really have a lot of fun. I spent many an hour swinging on those things when I was a kid. It's a natural homemade swing. It certainly is. Yeah, they're fun. And all you need to take a saw with you, or a hatchet or something other.
I just don't see it. Because you would think that, wouldn't you, if they jump out of the tree, you would find the tracks around the trees. How many tracks have we found facing a tree yet? Or facing out from a tree?
Well, that's why years ago I did not believe that the big ones would actually go up in a tree. But after thinking about the trackway from years ago that disappears, now I believe that's the only option. That's the only explanation for that, is they had to go up into a tree. Had to. It didn't occur to me at the time. If it had occurred to me at the time, maybe I could have looked around a little further and picked it back up.
One would think, this is only speculation. Again, this is all speculation.
Yes, right.
That if they did climb trees, we would eventually find a dead one that fell out of a tree and hurt himself.
It fell, yeah.
But we haven't done that either. Nor seen any evidence of that. There would be some blood or, some form of evidence by the tree with a broken branch and blood that would indicate, hey, something fell out of the tree.
Right? Of course there's going to be ones that are injured. Right. It just has to be. It's got to be, They're going to have somebody fell and broke a leg or something, But evidently maybe they're really good healers. Maybe they can heal themselves pretty quickly.
I don't know.
It's kind of a social question there. If one of the group gets injured, do the others take care of it while it's injured? Stuff like that. And I really do believe these are social creatures, social animals. I think they have their own groups. They, maybe live in and take care of each other. But speculation, once again, speculation. If you had only one living as a single, like a male or something by himself, and he breaks a leg, well, he's pretty much screwed. So
Grass says, no Cuba for me. I was born there. We're not talking about Cuba, the country. They're talking about Cuba, New York, where there's the famous Cuba cheese factory. and they make delicious cheese curds and other fine cheese products.
Ah.
And it's also very good Bigfoot country as well, as Mike pointed out. Yeah, so Cuba cheese. Oh, back to food again. Sorry.
I like to have a cube of cheese with a bowl of cereal. Or not a bowl of cereal, a bowl of chili. Cube of cheese, you know?
Cube of cheese.
Oh, yeah.
I would like a cube of cheese from Cuba cheese.
Oh, okay. That would probably be good.
Yeah, I agree. Texas, Steve, time for a road trip. Yeah.
Yeah,
buddy.
Check Patrick Collins' comment out here. Reason we never find a dead Bigfoot body. Rick Dyer hides them all in his freezer. That's rich. That is rich. I like that.
So I did a little snooping and pooping today too, and it looks like he is keeping true to his word, staying out of the Bigfoot stuff. So,
well,
hasn't posted anything in quite some time about the hairy one. So.
Yeah. Well, I'd always kind of figured he might, but then again, once he's been in it, he might come back. You might come back bigger and better next time.
I think he's really into his auto stuff now. And he's trying to act as a mentor to people and how to sell cars and
Oh yes. Well, there's probably more money in that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I would think he would probably concentrate on where the most money comes in, and having like a training program for selling used cars would be.
Yeah, but if you watch any of his videos, he's talking about cars. He's still talking his very cocky ways and his arrogant ways. And he is a used car, Pat. Rick Dyer is a used car salesman.
Yes, sir. He sure is.
Has been. Yeah. Has been since I've known him in 2008.
Yeah.
When the first hoax. And I agree. Jay Fritz says, and hello, Jay. Good to see you, sir. Says Tiger never changes their stripes. Not.
Yeah, I think
nope.
He was selling used cars back during the Georgia hoax, wasn't he, at that time? Because Whitten was the policeman, yeah. And then, in some factor, he worked as a deputy jailer or something like that. I don't know.
No, he wasn't a jailer. He was an actual road
officer.
He actually had gotten shot in the line of duty and was on leave. He wasn't shot before they started talking about this Bigfoot tracker stuff.
Yeah.
And then boom, he got shot. And then that's when the hoax really launched.
Yeah.
And at first, Matt Whitten did a lot of the talking on the videos. You thought Matt was the brains behind the scheme, and it was actually quite the opposite. It was Rick that was behind.
Oh yeah, Dyer hooked him, guaranteed. Dyer saw Whitten as here's a guy that got some credibility. He put his hooks in him. We can go a long way with this guy. Yeah, well, pretty good ones.
Yep.
Until Kulls got a hold of him.
Eventually, yep. So yeah, it's just pretty interesting.
But
interesting.
Nothing against Rick Dyer. I thought his stuff was entertaining. I really did.
I did not.
Oh, I thought it was.
Well, some of the stuff he was doing was just downright wrong. I mean, he would go after people. Like remember he had said that Lauren Coleman had warrants out for him in Mexico for sexual offenses against children.
That was wrong.
And there was another guy from Australia who was actually in the security service industry, and had a lot of contracts with people. And he had doctored up a newspaper article and started disseminating that, replacing the actual criminal's name with his name.
Yeah.
And again, that had a sexual overtone to it as well.
Boy, that's really wrong. Yeah. He should understand you can't go around just doing that stuff. I mean, somebody will nab your butt into a courtroom and take everything you have and everything you will have.
But remember, a sociopath just doesn't care.
Yeah, no consequences for me.
And there is a very big sociopathy going on there with him.
Yeah.
And it has all the earmarks.
But you gotta admit though, the it is entertaining. All those rants about I'm the best Bigfoot tracker in the world and all this other stuff. That is entertaining. I mean, you gotta laugh. It's funny.
It's not. I didn't find it funny at all.
You don't
actually.
Oh, come on, man.
I was so disgusted with him. Maybe at first I found it funny, but then as the attacks against other people, everything he did, I just
that's not entertaining at all. That's just wrong. And as was him trying to make money from people by trying to dupe them into believing that he actually had the Bigfoot.
Hey,
that's wrong.
Can you plop Kaiju Ninja's comment out there? And the question is, I certainly don't know.
He's not really quiet.
He's not been a very big, high-profile guy lately. I don't know if that's because of his age. He's got to be tipping 70 plus now.
He's been really quiet the last few years. He really has.
So yeah, as much as we kind of chuckle and like to poke fun, you know, these guys are getting up there in their age, and they may not be around for too much longer. You know, so I'm trying to, you know, walk around that one a little bit lately because I don't know if he's well or not because of his absence. It's kind of like the Linda Newton Perry thing. It's like all of a sudden, boom, now she's not doing it. Is something wrong? Are they sick? And I certainly hope not. I don't wish anything bad on people. I don't hate these people.
No.
Biscardi I dislike for lying to me. Let me just put it to you that way. You know, you can do, you know, that was stuff done to me. Rick Dyer, when him trying to set me up in California, you know, that was, you know, worthy of, but he did eventually apologize for that.
That was sneaky and conniving on a new level. It was wrong.
Yep. In case people don't wonder, he claimed he had a small one in captivity or a small dead one. Yeah. And he challenged me and a few other people to go out to California. Well, the guys on Facebook find Bigfoot for whatever reason. And I don't know if it was a setup or not.
Yeah.
But they were starting to distrust Rick.
Yeah.
And they wanted me to fly out there, and they gave me the mile, you know, they gave me this. So they booked the ticket for me, said, no, we want you to go. So I flew out there and take a look. And I had booked a return flight the same day. So I got there at 10 in the morning, and I would fly out at like 11:30 at night, take the red eye back home. Yeah. And what ended up happening was I get there and we get this whole line of BS about, well, why don't you meet me up? I'm up behind the Hollywood sign. Just grab a cab. And then I'm like, a cab probably would have cost $75 from LAX to that point. Yeah. But a couple of the other people were actually coming in by car, and they were from California. So they, you know, we were messaging each other, and it was Susie Mateish. And she picked me up at the airport.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? Let's just go over to the hotel where he claims he's staying, and we'll go into the lounge and we'll try to. So we're having a cocktail or two, and then eventually he tried to say, oh, you've been tracked. We got you. And his whole entire audience turned on him because they were like, we thought you were going to show him up.
Yeah.
This was our day. Rick, you said you had this, and you were going to show him up, and now you're saying you don't have anything. You're not there.
Yeah.
And so then I immediately did a reply video saying, you know what, with a cocktail in my hand, and I got Bugs on my left and Susie on my right. And we're sitting there with cocktails, raising our glasses up. And I'm saying, yeah, does it look like you really busted my chops? Thanks for the free trip to California. Guess what? I'm going to In-N-Out Burger next because we don't have them on the East Coast. And then I'm enjoying a good meal with some friends, and then I'm flying home.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was you really got me.
Well, you know, he had no idea, no thought in the world that you would actually show up. He's like, oh, no, he'll never. I'll just issue this challenge, and then he just won't accept it. Then I can make good on that. I can say, well, see, I told you to come out here, but you didn't. But I have it right here. You know?
Yeah, I called his bluff. And,
it was so good.
And in fact, I remember it was I forget his name, that Robert Lindsay's blog. That guy, remember?
Yeah.
He
I remember.
wanted to interview me the night before I flew out there. And first question is, what do you expect to see when you fly out to California? And my answer was 2 words: a hoax.
A hoax, yeah.
I called it, and I'm like, I'm not expecting to see a dead Bigfoot. I know there's not going to be a dead Bigfoot. And people around me were worried, you know what this guy's going to do? He's going to send you you're going to get in a car with him. He's going to drive you out to some place and show you this thing at some remote facility if it exists. And what if it's just a setup to like kill you or do it? Not worried about it.
No.
I'm not worried about it.
No.
And believe me, I can handle myself pretty freaking well. So that was a very interesting time. And that was just before all the tragedy struck in my life with my brother and my mother. So, but that was like the last of the real good times. And that was it after that. Eventually that whole thing fell apart on its own.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to do much more after that. My whole reaction is, Rick can shut the hell up.
Yeah.
If he wants to prove there's a Bigfoot, I'll give you 1 month from today. Meet me at this location here in New York. Now you come to me and show me the Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And of course he didn't. I was making that open challenge. And of course he didn't respond to it and wouldn't do it. So again, his audience was like, well, if you got it, why don't you show him up? What's left of him. So the cool thing is that I did make a lot of, some of his people that were hooked onto him for a long time, eventually came around, and then they became my friend. They wanted to apologize, and we ended up talking. And Frank Cali was one of them, the late great Frank Cali, and he was a good dude. And a lot of people kept saying, "Oh, we don't think he's got a heart condition." He did. And, that's what he passed of, unfortunately, and not at a very old age either. I think he was in his late 50s.
Yeah. Those people that were following him, they were just a little bit, I don't want to say gullible, but, they were probably good people that wanted to believe him.
Yep.
It's just they were duped by a con man. And there's no sin in that. It's nothing to be ashamed of.
Mick has a comment, too. Can you throw that up there, Chris? If there was, it was talk amongst people. There was talk amongst people that were worried about me. And it says, Steve, as I recall it, there was a very real threat to your safety when you went out there to meet Dyer.
Yeah.
And I basically poo-pooed any of that talk.
Yeah.
Believe me, I had all the contingencies in my head and prepared for anything. But one thing I was very confident of is that, he wasn't going to do anything because people were watching this.
Right.
People were, and we were all keeping, people posted on social media what was going on. And I think I'd sent some pictures of me at the airport in the morning, and then me arriving in LA. And,
right.
And
that's the thing.
And of course, me at In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah. That's the thing about Rick, I wouldn't be so concerned about him maybe trying to do bodily injury to anybody. But I would be concerned about him telling me a story,
yeah,
about Bigfoot. Won't try and make me believe something. Not necessarily that he's going to try to harm me in any way. No.
Yeah.
I don't think he would harm anybody.
And
I haven't been married to him either, so I don't.
Yep, Norma, girly Bigfooter. Hello, Norma. Good to see you in chat. Said Steve is smarter than that. Yeah, I was prepared for any contingency, and the fact is that's why I had waited for Bugs and Susie to show up. So now, strength in numbers. Now there's 3 of us.
Yeah,
and I'm a formidable foe on my own. Now I got a couple extra helping hands and distractions that, so Rick believes there's a Bigfoot now. I don't know. I really don't know. It's hard to say.
Probably doesn't. Probably because he's.
Hey, is Nikki still in chat? Since we're on this, if Nikki is still in chat, can I send you a link and can you pop on? Because it was Nikki had Rick on her show, Mary Man, hoaxes and hoodwinks. And I got wind of it, and he started dropping my name, and Nikki dropped me a line on it. So I got in on the show, and I got in on the show, and I kind of put him in his place, and he was saying things, and I said, well, I got the police report right here, Rick. And that kind of like, oh. And then I think Nikki's gone, to tell you the truth. But in the chat, there was me, there was Pat Turner, and Nikki. And Pat was furious at Rick. He was letting him have a double barrel, even more so than I was earlier. But we kind of rolled it back a bit and started getting into a discussion.
Yeah.
And at that point, I had said something to Rick that really affected him, I think. And that was, he thought everything was just a big joke. This is all in fun. Blah, blah, blah. I'm making money off it, but it's all in fun and nobody cares. And then I said, well, let me explain this to you. There are probably a few thousand people out there that believe in this. And when you conduct a hoax, they're excited at first because they're finally going to be validated and not called crazy. And then it comes out to be not real and you're laughing. It's like you're laughing at them.
That's right.
And now they feel crushed and hurt. And all of a sudden he just went, the smile came off his face, and he looked down and he goes, wow. He goes, I never really had that explained to me that way.
Yeah.
And he goes, and he was speechless for about 4 or 5 minutes. Oh, she isn't. Let me see if she can come on real quick. I'll send her an invite chat. Let me just get on the right. Let me just get on the right machine because
with Rick promoting hoaxes, that's not entertainment. That's wrong, and I don't like that.
Right.
But now the message, the rants that he came across with his TikToks and stuff like that about being the best Bigfoot tracker in the world. Now that is entertainment. I think that's entertaining. But as far as him trying to dupe somebody into believing that he has a body or some, oh no, that's wrong. That's wrong.
Okay, so I just sent Nikki the invite because we never know where this conversation is going to roll. I love to have her input on the whole. I
always like to have Nikki's input on Dyer. Yeah.
Yeah, because she really is the one who got the scoop on him after the fact with his new. He was ramping up for another run. So people are happy Nikki's coming on. We love having Nikki on.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that whole conversation was very interesting. And then eventually he turned around, he apologized. And he apologized. He says, I feel bad now. He goes, I never really, and he said to everybody, and Steve explained it to me. He goes, I've never had anybody explain it to me the way Steve just did it. Now I understand. Now I understand that it hurt people. So that really ramped his stuff down. And I think that's when the last of the Bigfoot stuff you had heard. Yeah. Because he was ready to give it another go. And okay, we just got rid of the spammer and the
you probably got him same time I did.
Well, you hit him and I reported him, so that'll keep. Hey, it's Jay Bachochin in the house too, and Jay, I don't know if you weren't here earlier, but we did put this up. I'll put it up again just because Jay is here. Again, our deepest condolences, Jay. I know how much Linda meant to you. So brother, we're praying for you, and we are very sad for your loss. Really, it's all our loss, but we really feel sorry for you who, you and Linda were close. And, if there's anything we can do, just don't hesitate, my brother. We all love you down here.
we're not given enough time as it is, and when somebody have to go early, that's no good.
So anyway, yeah, it was pretty sad. I don't see Nikki in the jet room yet, so I don't know if we're gonna just move on right now. But if she is, she just gave me. She's probably setting up. She just gave me a thumbs up.
Yeah.
So she'll be here shortly.
Yeah, but I don't really think that Dyer actually ever believed in Bigfoot. I don't think he did.
Norma also brought up Carrie Arnold, who was at the Bigfoot Odyssey podcast host, who passed away in a car accident, very young, very tragic, very sad. Family guy. Did not know him. We've never crossed paths, unfortunately. But from what I heard, he was a pretty upstanding guy, was very kind to everybody, and got mixed up with this dink down in Florida. And, after his death, this guy was throwing his name out there, smearing his name, and truly tasteless, and smearing the widow's name, really, really tasteless. So, that guy was Mark Zasky, I believe. And he was just saying he was just like psychotic about talking about Carrie and his family because they wanted their equipment back. It was part of this project. And he was trying to make the argument, that was given to me. The old, and we saw, Bob Garrett do that to Maximus I can never think of his name. Detrimus, I think. Maximus Detrimus. That's his screen handle, who was loaning out FLIR units to people, these FLIR cameras that were actually mountable, and you put them there and it would monitor an area. And, he had a hard time. He didn't get one back. He sent him 3, and the 2 he got back were completely trashed. Because they were probably mad because they got asked to return the cameras. But yeah, so hopefully Nikki will be here in a second. Nikki, are you out there? Are you coming on?
Don't worry about makeup.
Wake up.
Put makeup on, I guess.
Sorry, I can't sing much more. Yeah. Pat says people suck. Yes, they do. But, unfortunately, there was a lot of people telling Carrie, you don't want to get mixed up with this guy. And they did. And the sad thing is the ASCII subs counts keep growing. That's because controversy sells. Yeah. That's because, if I mention Todd Standing and do a show or a video on, there's another one.
Got him. Okay.
Right.
Enjoy the band.
And look who's with us now. Hello, Nikki.
Hey, now I can't turn you off over here. Hold on. There you go. Oh, it's dark in here. I just shut everything down.
Sorry. We never know where this conversation goes. And when we started talking about, because, the chat started talking about Dyer. And it was like, okay, well, but you were there that infamous night. And I just want your take on the after show chat.
Oh, my God. The one that should have been recorded. It should have been recorded.
Should have.
Yeah, it would have been something else. I mean, he once we got to the back and things got, everybody takes a deep breath and we were calm and I felt comfortable enough, to talk to him, and if everything was bullshit, everything. I go, during my show, he still wanted to say that tent video was real. That was real. And
I mean, do you think my words changed his attitude when I said to him about how people perceive that and how they were hurt by that? Because it seemed like he stopped in his track.
Yeah, he seemed like it had affected him.
Yeah.
Because he got a different look in his face. You know, he seemed like, I don't know, maybe for the first time, you know, he really thought about, well, it's affecting other people. It's affecting other people. Not that he really cared beyond that.
Yeah.
Because he didn't. But it was just like a little bit of a realization that happened, I think. And
that's when he started saying, well, yeah, the tent video isn't real or something. You know, Morgan Matthews, and the guy was complaining about the suit he was wearing. The
suit. He went into detail about the guy in the suit and who he was, and oh yeah, I picked that guy was an actor. He was on the Ring, Lord of the Rings or something, and that guy was a pain in my ass. We couldn't do anything because he was always getting hot in the suit, and I mean he said things we didn't ask him those things. He just started unloading. Okay, the after show went even almost longer than the real show. Yeah. We were there a long time.
We were,
and that was fine. You know,
it seemed his apology to us seemed very sincere as well.
It did.
You know, and he, you know,
it only goes that far still. Yeah. Okay. Because I already knew what kind of guy he was, you know, from watching him all those years.
You catch him in these moments.
Yeah.
And if you can bring him down off this high of, you know, I'm not going to say necessarily sociopathy, but he does have a big lack of empathy for people, and he is very narcissistic. And when you bring that down, you say, hey, look, you're talking to a person here. He kind of checks back in to the human race, and he's like, and you know, the funny thing is I found the same kind of thing with Biscardi, except Biscardi is, you know, when he's in the Bigfoot mode, he's not getting out of it until he wants to. Yeah. And, you know, Biscardi, if you get him out of the Bigfoot loop, is genuinely a nice guy. Hey, look, I bought this. You got to try these. These are delicious. You know, and you know, that kind of, he goes, let's go over here. Like, I want to show you this. And, you know, Sean, you know, when we were in Palm Springs one time, and, you know, he was like, wow, you know, he's being really cool. And, you know, he's being the almost fatherly or crazy uncle type of guy there, instead of being this dick that he is when he's on the road. Or when he's playing the world renowned Tom Biscardi. So it's amazing the insight that I have to seeing these people and how they've acted over the years. Cause I think I probably had so much close interaction with Dyer and Witten and Biscardi over the years to, you know, and thank God I've talked to so many criminals in my life, because it gave me some insight on how to deal with certain situations. And Matt Witten, you know, he disappeared after the 2008 hoax. And, you know, I talked to him in 2012 or 2011, late 2011, when Dyer started that second hoax up. And, you know, he's like, you know, man, he goes, he just gets a kick out of it. He likes being hated, I guess. I just don't get it. He goes, I never really thought, you know, that people would hate me for this. And then all this hate mail started coming in, and I'm like, what did I do? You know, and he goes, that's why I walked away from it. He goes, that's, you know, crazy. And he goes, I felt genuinely bad. I was hurting people. And then of course I tried to, you know, a few years later, here we are in 2011, 2012. And I still say, so what really destroyed that hoax of yours? He goes, you. He goes, that was Biscardi's worst decision, and we would all been rich. But yeah, he goes, but in the scheme of things, you know, basically in the scheme of things, yeah, I'm probably better off not taking that money or not getting money in that type of way.
Yeah.
You know, so I think there was some Zen realizations within himself.
Right.
You know, and I think, you know, I used that bit of knowledge to say what I said to Dyer that night to get him down. Was, you know, hey, you don't realize the people you've hurt. You know, there are people looking for validation. They're all excited. Oh, we're going to get validated. This is going to be it. This is going to be it. And it's a friggin' fake. Crushed, you know, crushes people. Yeah.
It was a lot of different emotions going on the whole time, from the beginning of the show to near the end, to him getting excited when he found out that you wanted to come on, to, you know, coming on, and then right away you were like, okay, let's
Oh yeah, I came out swinging.
Yeah, you came in hot. You came in hot. And it elevated really, really fast, which I just let it go.
Yep.
Let it go. But you guys both brought it down fairly fast. I mean, it didn't last a whole
and that's
long time.
That's the reason why, because if I had come in, you know, like a mouse, he would have stepped all over it.
Oh, for sure.
So that's why I came in like, hey, you know, who you're talking to, you know?
Right.
You know, so that's the reason why I came in hot like that. Was I really angry? No, but I knew how I had to use my tones, and I knew how to. Hey, Helton, aka Faster Man, welcome to the show. And you're right, the best con artists are the nicest people. That's why they call it a con. A con means confidence.
He talks very well. I mean, we had many conversations before the show. Well, not like a couple, you know, so I could tell him how I wanted to do the show. I didn't want him to be on the defensive. I just was going to ask him questions. I didn't care what he had done or whatever. I just wanted the interview. So, but I knew from the beginning that you couldn't trust anything he says, anything. Everything that came out of his mouth, I needed to just take for what it was worth. And I wasn't going to hold it as, you know, that's the truth, you know, on the Bible truth or whatever, because I knew it wasn't.
That's Nikki.
Anything.
Not only a journalist, but she's an investigative journalist, so she knows what this guy's all about before she ever asks him a question.
I just wanted him to talk. I just wanted it to come out because it hadn't on live.
Yeah.
You know, yet it hadn't. Nobody had interviewed him yet, and nobody had gotten him to just say this stuff.
Yeah.
And other than in little things. But the one thing I knew I just wanted him to talk. I was going to let him say whatever the frick he wanted to. Yeah. And that's when Steve came on, I didn't know where that was going to go, you know? Yep. So I'm like, well, I know Steve can handle whatever's coming, you know? So just let it go. Just let it go.
I know how to handle him. And I knew he wasn't going to just simply hang up and disappear off the show.
Right.
He was going to stay. That's not in his character to duck away from a fight.
Right. Yeah. No.
And that's because probably when he was younger, that's exactly what he would always do. So he creates this persona, you know, the world's greatest Bigfoot hunter persona. Now
everything. I'm just going to say that everything he says or anything that comes out of his mouth, he has a reason, okay, for what he says, because he's always got this thing where what he says is a means to an end.
Yes.
He's going to do this because he wants this at the end. And most of the time that was money. Everything he said was to stir him towards that more money. And I mean, even now,
part of it's ego too.
Yeah,
you got to feed his ego, and the more people would bash him, the happier he would get, the more arrogant he would get.
Yeah.
So you look at a person like that, and deep down, he's got to be feeling pretty bad. And you know, it's how do you peel that onion back to get to that part?
You know, he swore he wasn't going to come back into the Bigfoot community. He had done this thing and that was done and blah, blah, blah. And now a year later, he's on TikTok and he's the Bigfoot hunter again, you know, and he's doing all his strutting again and talking about his Bigfoot, you know, that he does. He's the best Bigfoot hunter in the world. So,
but you know, the funny thing is I don't think he's getting much traction like he had done.
No, not as much. I noticed that his following he's got a lot of the car people that follow him, you know, and his TikToks that are Bigfoot related, dude, they get up there, you know, they reach some of them 8,000 views or so. But I think it's just because it's so outrageous, you know. People are catching on to it.
Yeah, nobody's believing him, saying, hey, you know,
right.
Back in the day, you know, when he started with the hoax number 2, people, you know, it was spreading like wildfire, you know, among social media. Mm-hmm. And the way to gauge that is Facebook a lot of times, because that's where people talk. And nobody's talking about him. You know, it's like, you're just another idiot.
Yeah, Kaiju, he did make a lot of money. He made money off of the first one, and he made a shit ton of money off the second one.
I don't know how much he made off the second one in reality, because his expenditures on the second one were a lot.
Yeah, I think he spent a majority of what he probably got, but it was over $100K, I think.
Because if you talk to people like Andrew Clacy, who was his right-hand man during the tour, he never got paid. He never made a cent. That's his claim.
So he never took that $3,000 or whatever from the beginning deal.
I do not believe so. Do not believe so. Remember Muskie Allen? Remember that guy?
Yeah.
And you know, we found out his name is Alan Redmond, and because he was going by this alias, and he had a criminal record for domestic violence and such, and that came out, and he was trying to deny it. And that guy was a nasty POS. He was a straight up, to me, he was a straight up criminal. So, yep. And Don, just to let Don know, I will be looking into that matter that Don is talking about. Again, I'm going to visit that particular thing probably in the future. You know, I have realized that probably has a little traction on it, so that needs to slow down a bit. So,
well, I think Dyer is kind of testing the waters. I believe he's trying to see what kind of following he can get talking about Bigfoot, and if he gets enough people interested, I swear, I believe there's a hoax on the horizon. I believe there's the potential.
I think you're right, Chris. But I think you're right.
But let's also look at reality, and reality is he is. Well, now he's buying cars again. It's hard to say. Right. But I think
his new thing is to bash everything else about the community. That's been his new thing. He's been bashing. He's been calling the PNG the biggest hoax ever in regards to Bigfoot. That the whole lie between the PNG and that he's showing videos of Hieronymus and what was it? He was showing
probably Philip Morris and
all that, the suit and all of that stuff. He's been showing clips from that, you know, just to say it's a lie. Lie number 1, lie number 2. They lied to you about this. That's the route he's been taking about the Bigfoot lately.
And you never know. He could be entirely right on that matter. Yeah. You still don't know where that stands. I mean,
it's still a big controversy. Yeah,
it's a big. I would hate to think so. But if that ever came out that it was not real, and believe me, I've been in the center of controversy over that BS, thanks to some manipulation. It would really disrupt the community in a way that we probably never seen before.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, I don't know if the Patterson-Gimlin film is real or not, because there's things I like about it and there's things I don't like about it. But, regardless, it doesn't affect my belief in these creatures at all whatsoever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have anything to do with it. But a lot of people have made a living off Patterson and Gimlin film, talking about it, trying to break it down. Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
1967 Bigfoot, law number 1. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah.
And actually, if he's talking about real stuff that's controversial, that would be a step up for Rick.
He is. He's spent even taking, like what we do, video analysis, and he's been giving his own take on, is this real or not? So
nothing wrong with that. That's good. I hope he
doesn't that seem like kind of the advice Pat was giving him?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Is he actually taking the advice?
Well, I don't.
That was given. Rick will always be Rick, but he is not claiming he has a body. He's not out there claiming he has a video.
Yeah.
No kaiju. Rick told us there's no such thing as Bigfoot. He said that many, many times.
Right.
There's no such thing as Bigfoot. Everything I've done has been a hoax. Everything I did was just for the money. He said that. And once he said that, that's when I said, so the tent video is fake. And he goes, oh yeah, that actor. And then he went into that whole thing. And then I go, well, what about the end part with the BBC guys, and the fake? That's all fake. All of it. Yeah. Everything. The whole thing. It's all fake.
Yep. Yeah, all fake.
I don't have any proof that he said it. So it's pretty much just, me and Steve were there and Pat was there, but I don't know if Pat remembers all of that part. Or if he was even in yet. Was Pat?
Yeah, he was. He was there from there from the beginning, I believe.
Okay.
Or he came in very quickly after.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite interesting when you deal with people like that. And you know what? If he's a dose of reality to people, power to him. Yeah. Power to him, as long as he's not hoaxing stuff.
Yeah, he's not hurting anybody right now.
Right. Yeah. I have no problem if he feels the Patterson-Gimlin film is fake and this is fake and that's fake and there's a problem in the community, because in certain sections there are problems in the community. They have espoused people that go out all the time and find all this evidence, which is garbage. We're going out there and do our research, and we were surrounded by Sasquatches and we got all this evidence. And well, where is it? Where's the audio? Where's the video? Where's the hair samples? Where's the tracks? Where's any of it? All you're showing us is these tree breaks. Show us the monkey.
The Patterson-Gimlin film and the attempts to debunk it by using the Philip Morris suit and Bob Hieronymus, people say, oh yeah, they proved it. It was Bob in the suit because they redid it. Oh my gosh. They've never seen the photos of Bob in this Philip Morris suit. It was laughable. The BBC documentary where they said, oh yeah, we've recreated the footage. Oh my gosh, that was a joke. The 1967 cowboy did a heck of a lot better than any of these modern guys have ever tried. Regardless, what.
And that is true. Don made a comment. Pat thought he could cure Dyer, and he did. And we were like trying to tell him, no, you can't cure him. And that went away real fast. He learned that lesson real fast. And so you can't fix that kind of person. You can only.
Well, that's how fast Rick made friends or gained trust, of Pat at that moment.
Right.
because Pat came in hot to the after show.
It's the con.
I do remember that. Pat came in pissed off at what he had heard on the show. So, he came in cursing and everything at Dyer, and Dyer took it, for whatever. Whoa. But by the end of the night, it was totally opposite,
Well, I think part of it was that, it did change him when I talked about him hurting people. But then he got into his other mode where, well, I want to do something for the community. I want it. And, that was the setup that, I wasn't going to help him. I wasn't going to do it. I know better because the guy blows like the wind. And the problem is, and this is a story I probably haven't told before. So in 2009, I went down to Georgia to meet Rick, and Rick was still on his behavior program at that point in time. And I met Witten, and I met the kid. His last name was Ochoa. That was his stepson at the time, or his living girlfriend's son or whatever. And, Rick was doing everything I had asked. I wanted the freezer receipt. We went to the store. He got a copy. I saw him. I was right there when he asked for it. He came off the printer. She gave it to him. He gave it right to me. That was the nail in Biscardi's coffin with the freezer receipt, because of when he flew in and he could have never seen this thing frozen. But, so we had a really good, he told me how they painted the face mask, very accurate. He told me about the DNA and what Biscardi had said about, cutting himself and, getting a little human blood. The best thing we can do is have this contaminated with human DNA. That way I'll throw everything off, whole nines. And that made a lot of sense to me. We fast forward now, maybe about 6 months, and I get a phone call from him saying, Steve, I got to tell you the truth. I really do have the body. And that's when I knew. I was like, oh, okay, Rick, well, and I got off the phone. I didn't talk to him for like 4 years, until the next hoax came out. And that wasn't even really talking. We were talking through media, not necessarily person to person. But that was really the last time I had spoken to him person to person until that night we were in the after show chat. So yeah, that told me that when he said that, I knew he was lying. And I'm thinking to myself, I didn't give it away that he was lying to him. But I was like, well, if you have something, then you better do this, and this. And I got to go. And that was it. And I'm like, oh, F me. That was my reaction to it. And I just let it go. And then he reemerges, 2.5 years later after that to officially start this next hoax. So
going back to the original hoax, the DNA turned out to be a mixture of human and possum.
Yep.
I thought that was rich.
And that was another nail in Biscardi's coffin because he altered that email and sent it out to a bunch of people, said that it was, human ape.
Man.
So, and it's very easy to see the parallels between the Ketchum study and that as well, because who was the first person to promote Melba Ketchum was Tom Biscardi. A lot of people don't know that. For a while she was going to be searching for Bigfoot's DNA checker. And, and it's true. I mean, Rick does have a lot of, if he's going to go after the Bigfoot point, that's easy. I do it all the time, but I do it a lot more tactfully, that is. I think that's a part that's missing. And given his background too, it's like, and unfortunately, if he goes and attacks people that are really hoaxing, because he's a former hoaxer, it may embolden the people to go against what he's saying and support this video that's a hoax. Like we had a conversation earlier about the Mississippi skunk ape video, and it's very interesting that I had a guy comment on that, stating it's up on the comments, stating that how can you say this, that, thing? I don't think you've debunked anything, because how can you say this guy? Did you watch the entire video? Did you watch where this guy was actually a character in the IMDb? The guy doesn't exist. Why did they black his face out or blur his face out on the TV show that this was shown on, which is very obviously a spin-off of Mountain Monsters, except for it's in Louisiana? Why did he say this was filmed in Louisiana, not Mississippi, like everybody's claiming this to be? Why is this guy on social media has only posted one thing, both on the same day? He posted one item on YouTube, one item on Facebook, one item in one of the groups, and that was it. Disappeared, never to be heard of again, never to add anything to either one of those accounts. Obviously this guy is not a real person. There is no social media footprint other than those postings of the video, and that was it, gone. And so the person isn't real. It was done for a fake show, a fake documentary series, like in the ilk of Mountain Monsters. Why is this guy? Because he's picking and choosing what he wants. He took the weakest part of the argument and said, "Oh, that doesn't prove anything." No, it doesn't, but it leads to suspicion. And that's what I wrote to him. I said, well, the bottom line, how was the suit made? How was this? I don't know. Without actually knowing the exact location, how can we determine anything or do an on-scene investigation to determine the height, size, weight of anything? I said, number two is, the bottom line on this is the person never existed. He was a character, not even an actor. He was a character written into the show. That's very fake. We don't need to go any further on how the suit was made. We know it's a suit because this was made for a fake show. The person submitting it is fake. The video is fake. It's common sense. Yeah. And that's what a lot of people lack sometimes, common sense, or he just wants to believe and point out the weak part and ignore the rest. And that is a person I would hate to be around, because imagine them in real life. I'm going to take the facts that I believe in and not the entire picture. God knows what he does in relationships.
If it had been a new show, I would have probably watched it. If it was similar to Mountain Monsters, I would have really watched it.
Very badly done. Yeah. It only survived 4 episodes. Or 5 episodes.
I'm waiting to see if there's any truth to this Rick Dyer expedition that's supposed to be happening. I thought it would have already. We would have heard something by now, since it's the end of the year.
It's never going to happen.
I know. He claims he did a Discovery Channel documentary back in May. I think we talked about this before. I'm not sure.
Usually if something is done in February, March, April, or May, it usually airs by November.
So
and since we're at the end of November, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything of that. But I mean, he's got it on his
right.
his channel. He's still advertising it, that it's happening, whatever it is, and that he's taking people from his channels, or taking, I don't know, from his TikToks and whatever. Whoever wants to go on this expedition with him, to get in touch with him.
Well, power to him, I suppose.
Question from the chat, Steve.
Look, there's people, me, please. And it's this blonde chick with.
If Rick agreed to come on the channel to further the discussion, his past intention and his current intent, would you join the discussion? Of course I would. I don't back down from nothing. Chris knows that from me, and that's why Chris got a little grin under there. Oh, Steve would be chomping at the bit. I've always said this when I go on the podcast. Sometimes the tougher the interviews, for me, is more fun. I like those tough questions. I like the questions that throw me for a loop. I just did an interview today for the Van's World podcast, when they delve in everything. They delve in UFOs, paranormal, and Bigfoot. And that was nice. The last Bigfooter he had on was, Jeff Meldrum. So he was happy to get me on and give my takes. And, he wanted my take on standing. And he goes, I don't know if you want to delve into this, and of course I'm not shy.
Yeah.
So that was very, it was a great interview. It really was. He asked me some questions. What I like is there were some questions that, really challenged me, and I liked it. And I liked the challenge.
I think Standing's work is entertaining. That's it.
You know what? I don't find him funny anymore either.
Oh no, not in the funny way, but the work he does with the Muppet Squatch and stuff, that's entertaining. It really is.
You know what I find funny is still one of my favorite Bigfoot documentaries is Shooting Sasquatch.
Yes.
Because no matter how good they try to make Rick look, he looks horrible. And no matter how good Biscardi thought he looked on the show, he looked horrible.
I can't believe they let him run around in his boxers.
His tighty whities.
Oh.
That was
and there's that one scene where he falls.
Oh yeah. Oh. We have that one on the Snapple commercial.
One of my favorites, Nikki. One of my favorites.
That's one of my favorites right there. For sure.
But anyway, we are almost out of time.
Getting back to that documentary, though, Steve, I think they were really tough on Tom Biscardi because they made him look like a really jerk, like a really hard
I think that's him,
Chris, back that up. They didn't make him look like a jerk. He made himself.
He was portrayed in a non-flattering light.
But you know what? When he doesn't control the narrative on the documentaries, they show the truth. There was a documentary, Not Your Typical Bigfoot Movie.
Yeah.
That was about Dallas Gilbert and Wayne Burton, and it surrounded their involvement with Biscardi.
Yeah.
And Biscardi was sitting there, talking down to them every single time you saw them.
Yeah.
He was being really nasty. And then when Biscardi kind of set them up on the X Zone radio show with that picture, and I said, well, when did you get the picture? Well, the guy was dead. And, they couldn't remember him. Biscardi just said, oh, just say this. Yeah. And Biscardi see the one thing, and you look at, if you look at, a Rick Dyer, a Tom Biscardi, and a Todd Standing. Yeah. Todd has a really good grasp of Sasquatch stuff. He has thought out those arguments. I truly believe he believes the Sasquatch exist. I won't deny that. Yeah. Biscardi, I'm not so sure, but because his thing was not about perpetrating hoaxes and making money from hoaxes necessarily. His big thing was trying to get a lot of investment money for museums that never went up. Yeah. From the time I tracked him from 1986 through 2006 through 2008, 2009. He had gotten over $400,000 to put up hotels and not one, or museums rather, and not one museum ever went up. What's that telling you? There was always some sort of excuse. There was always some sort of, like, you got all this investor money. You're showing me this empty building on the San Francisco Pier. Yeah, we're going to have this. Look, this is our design for it. Look. Well, it says for rent. Why aren't you renting it?
Yeah.
Because there was never any intention. That's why. Well, and I truly believe that.
Well, he certainly, he was portrayed as being it was unflattering, the way they edited that video of the documentary. And
but the bottom line
that's what they got.
I tell you right now, that's exactly what they got. You can look when Dallas first meets, and looking at the other movie, Not Your Typical Bigfoot Movie, when Dallas meets Biscardi in the hotel room, he's looking at stuff, and Biscardi got blood or something on him that, Wayne had a cut in his hand, or Dallas had a cut in his hand or something. And he's like, you can see him glare at Dallas. There's no editing there. He's glaring at Dallas. He's yelling at Chico, you gonna let me do the talking?
Yeah.
And I can testify that's exactly him. And he tried getting that smarmy with me one time, and I gave him the glare back, and he backed off. But
Interesting.
yeah. But anyway, it is 11 p.m., folks, and it's time to go. But thank you, Nikki, for popping on for a little bit here.
Yeah. Nope.
And,
I love to talk dire.
Yeah. You love to talk hoaxes and hoodwinks.
I love that stuff, guys. I do.
I do too. I love it all. I love every little facet of this.
I know. I still keep up with all of that because you never know. There could be maybe a part 2, Rick Dyer.
Part 3. A part 2 would be one.
We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Very cool.
But yes, I love it when people like this guy say, "Oh, I know." Like one guy saying, "Oh, you're never in the woods." Oh, I'm in the woods. Trust me.
Yeah.
Not so much the last couple of years because of COVID and everything else, and they run around these crazy jobs I got myself into. But I do get out there a bit. I've gotten out there every year. I get out there for some time. Not as much as I'd like, not as much as I did in my youth, but I do. Yeah. And, I love that comment. You know what? Have you been 9,100 feet above sea level for a week straight in a mountain where, you're looking at tracks with, cubs?
Yeah.
It's not a playground, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But last year I was out with Chris in the woods and out with Charlie Raymond in the woods, and his team, and Ron Bowles and everybody. That was, I know what I'm doing.
It was fun.
Yeah. Yep. But anyway, Chris, you got anything? Do your thing for the end.
Yeah. Again, I want to thank Nikki for coming on. Nikki, it's always a pleasure having you, and it's an honor.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Very much.
And I want to thank everybody in the chat for great comments. I mean, and great questions and stuff. You guys, you make the show. We appreciate you. If it's your first time watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button. Give us a thumbs up. Helps us get found on the algorithm. And share this out if you can. Share it out.
Share. Sharing is caring.
Yep.
And folks who are listening on all our audio platforms, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Audible, swing by SquatchDTV.com. Check out the actual stuff where you can see it happening live and as it goes down. If you're over there and have a chance to join us at Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, come on over and join us and get into the fray. Before I go, I may have a little surprise next week. Ooh. You know what that surprise is, Chris?
That wouldn't be a surprise if I told you.
Well, I'm gonna bust this surprise out right now.
Okay.
All right.
I got an early Christmas present.
Oh, good.
So I am busting out a soundboard next week.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Good.
And we're gonna see if we can't get a call-in line going.
That would be great.
Soundboard. Because it does have Bluetooth capability.
Yeah. So that would be great.
If we can jerry-rig the mic into the soundboard and have StreamYard play nice so I can hear what's being said on that, we're good to go. If not, then I will just set up the other laptop to do it with the soundboard. So pretty sure next week we're going to have a call-in line. So we're going to do a call-in show.
Woo.
So
you're going to get Rick Dyer calling in. Hey, Steve.
Oh, he's welcome to. Welcome. Yeah.
That's fine.
Standing, Dyer, anybody.
If it gets bad, I can just turn the dial down and mute him. But anyway, so we're looking forward. We're going to be testing that probably Wednesday night. Me and the missus. Chris wants to join it. We can do that too. You might hear some cussing like the other night when it wasn't working. Premium, filth and foul. Because I am a New Yorker. So, So anyway, on behalf of everybody here at Squatch-D TV, we want to wish everybody a happy, safe, and healthy week. And I hope everybody had a great, great Thanksgiving. And, just remember when we think about, all the nonsense we see over the years.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
Everybody, have a great night. Have a great week. We'll see you all next Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern here, SquatchDTV.com. We'll catch you all next week.
Hey, folks, you've been watching Squatch-D TV. Join us each week, Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, for the latest on the Bigfoot mystery. As always, we thank you for being our loyal viewers and encourage all to subscribe to our YouTube page at youtube.com/Steve Kulls. As always, have a great week. Stay safe. God bless. And keep on squatching.